Hello and welcome to Winchester Now, our weekly news programme here on Winchester Radio. I'm Mary Blaxland with some of the news in our city this week, including appeals for help with the cost of living as the school holidays begin, why it's important to count our butterflies, and the sport hoping to prove it's open to all.
Winchester Radio.
An urgent appeal is being made for food donations in Winchester as the school summer holidays begin. The Basics Bank says demand is at a record high, with stocks of some food running low. The Community Food Pantry at Unit 12 in Winnell is also appealing for help to cope with the demand for its service. I spoke to manager Lara Tarrant about what they're experiencing.
At the moment it is very busy with the cost of living crisis. We're getting lots of new members coming through. In June we had just over 30 new members, but in total we've got over 1,000 on our books, with about 300 shopping monthly.
What are people saying to you about the cost of living?
Younger people are struggling and single people are struggling and young couples, and it's the rent, the mortgages, the increase in food costs, the increase in the bills in general. Food is becoming a problem and it's just too expensive.
And tell me a bit about the help that you offer here.
People can use us once a week and they pay £5 and they come in and we're like a small community shop and they can choose around £15 worth of food. So the idea is that we help them budget and we help the money go that little bit further.
Obviously school holidays starting. What are you expecting from that?
We'll expect more families coming through. With the children at home, it's difficult times for people because they need to entertain the children, feed the children who might have had free school meals, so their food costs over the summer go up. So if we can help, the idea is they'd be able to do things as families. If they can get their food slightly cheaper than the supermarkets, then it might be the difference between they can take the children out for the day.
And so many more people joined in June. Can you cater for more people joining in July, August?
Yes, we can cater. We get most of our surplus from the supermarkets. We have lots of fundraisers and we put campaigns out on social media which will hopefully increase the amount of food coming through to us in July and August.
So what extra help can people in Winchester give to you?
We have quite a lot of residents who do collections by their road. We've had one come in this morning from Egbert Road and they collect every couple of weeks as a street and they bring food up. We have a campaign out at the moment asking for lunches for children. So asking for things like packets of crisps, the biscuits, the raisins, jellies, just things that make the summer holidays that little bit nicer rather than having to spend all the money on the pure basics. Summer holidays is very, very difficult for a lot of families in Winchester. You don't realise we're not as affluent as you think, and there are people in Winchester who are struggling. So if the people in their streets or their clubs can do us collections, other people do things like plant sales, cake sales, and then they donate us the money and we can go and do an extra shop. And if we shop, we can buy the things that we know we're short of.
So what do people do if they can offer help? How should they get involved?
They can email us, or we can send them a list of the things we're collecting. They can just pop in during any of our opening times. We're open every morning apart from Wednesdays and Sundays between 10 and 1, and we are always happy to see people turning up with bags of food donations.
And there's another way you need people to help too, isn't there?
We are always looking for new volunteers. We need people to help open the sessions, serve during the sessions. We need people who can do our supermarket pickups in the evening for us. We're also looking for people who can do one-off fundraisers and just help in any way they can. Without the volunteers, we would struggle to open.
You have a clothes pantry here as well, don't you?
Yes, we have the community clothes pantry. We stock all clothes, men's, ladies, children's. Every item is sold for £1, and every pound we make is put back into the food pantry, which we normally buy the toiletries. We're always looking for clothing donations. We're also always looking for people to come and volunteer in the clothes pantry. We run regular events, sustainable events, where we ask the general public to come in and buy the clothes and and every item of clothing they buy supports our food pantry.
And how much needed is the clothes pantry?
That is also very needed. We do help quite a few schools. We help our local domestic abuse refuge. We might on occasion help asylum seekers and just the local community.
And there's another event as well happening in the summer to help people.
Yes, on the 17th of August we have Winchester City Council coming in, their housing team, alongside Citizens Advice, and they'll be here during a pantry session on a Thursday. Anybody can turn up. They are bringing an ice cream cart and giving free ice cream and giving advice.
Very important at this time.
Yes, yeah, very, very important. Citizens Advice are great. We co-volunteer with them regularly anyway, so they'll have their advisors in and people can come and ask them any question they like.
And now for a roundup of the news across the Winchester area. I'm Steve Walker. Another week and another strike on our railways. This week both ASLEF and the RMT unions are taking action. South Western Railway says there will be a reduced service all week, with significant problems on Thursday and Saturday. As usual, passengers are advised to check before travelling. The government has criticised the unions as it comes at the start of the school holidays, but unions say they're pressing for a decent pay offer, with the cost of living increasing. This is the last week for people to have their say on the Hampshire County Council's plans to reduce its budget by £132 million over the next 2 years. Options include increasing council tax and charges for some services. Other services may face cuts, including school crossing patrols, road repairs and community bus services. The council blames underfunding, rising costs and higher demand for local services. The consultation closes on 23rd of July and can be found online at hants.gov.uk. New figures show there are 165 patients waiting for an organ transplant in Hampshire, but the number of operations in the county went down in the last year compared to the year before. People are being urged to confirm their organ donation decision with the NHS Organ Donor Register. Doctors say families are more likely to support donation if they know it's what their relative wanted. NHS Blood and Transplant says that more than 50,000 people are alive in the UK thanks to the gift of organ donation. Finishing touches are being put to a newly refurbished play area at the River Park. It includes a new mural featuring plants and animals found in and around the River Itchen, such as kingfishers, otter, yellow flag iris and marsh marigolds. It's been painted by Rachel Alexander, who is the co-founder of the nearby Colour Factory. And that's a roundup of the news in Winchester today.
A few weeks ago we told you about an amazing Winchester charity that helps adults learn to read. It's thought there are more than 8,000 people in the Winchester area alone who can barely read or can just read simple texts. Read Easy Winchester has held a graduation evening to celebrate the achievements of new readers. Winchester Radio was invited along. I first met Barry, who learnt to read in his 70s, and his tutor, Terry.
So it's been hard. I'm sort of 72 now. When I was at school, they didn't want me to learn. They wanted all the people what's got bank managers and that. We was on the farm.
What's it been like for you not being able to read for all those years?
Well, I don't mind me because I was a lorry driver. Sometimes it gets a bit irritable, especially if you're going to another place and you can't find it.
What difference has it made to you now, being able to read?
I can sort of go to the bank and do me banking now. I can read things on the bank. Before, I had to get my sister to do it. So I got fed up and thought I'd get everybody else to read my mail. And now I can read the mail a bit.
You must be proud of what you've achieved.
Oh yes, I am proud really, even though I'm proud for the tutor what I got.
I have to say that my reader, Barry, is really, really keen. Invariably we do Mondays and Thursdays, half hour each night. So when I turn up, he's always at the door waiting and we crack on. And he's doing very, very well.
And what difference have you seen it make in Barry?
Confidence-wise, end of each session, how did you feel you did tonight? I was all right, wasn't I? All right, it was fantastic. And and the shoulders come back and his confidence has grown. And over the 18 months or so that we've been working together, we've missed very, very, very few. Well, I really enjoy it and I hope Barry does.
And it makes a huge difference, doesn't it, to someone's life being able to read?
Absolutely. Opens up a whole new world for you because Barry's involved, well, he's a farmer, worked on farms all his life, I think, and he does a bit of HGV stuff as well. And said to him, you'll be able to read articles on farming and it'll open up that side of things for you as well. I mean, he's knowledgeable, very knowledgeable on that side of things. He can widen it even more. I think it'll be fantastic for him, and it certainly gives me a great deal of satisfaction.
Well, the charity says learning to read can change lives. I also met Steve, now an ambassador for Read Easy, who says this was certainly true for him. When did you get involved with Read Easy Winchester?
When I was 50, so it's about 7 years ago when I decided to sort of learn to read. And 7 years on, and it's completely changed my life.
And what way has it changed your life? Describe to me what it's like not being able to read.
It just makes you more sort of confidence in yourself, and you don't mind going out, even sort of going to a restaurant, reading menus, going shopping. It's just normal life for people who can read. You just sort of do everything now.
And how was it that you weren't able to read up until your 50s?
I didn't really pay any attention at school, so I left school with no qualifications or nothing like that. But I just managed to find work. Most of my jobs were sort of nothing to do with reading. So I managed to get through life without reading. When I sort of come to later in years, and I thought I'd just love to read a book. So I've never read a book in my life, and that's what started me off. So I've decided to go to Read Easy. I think I've read about 30 books now. So changed my job because I wasn't very happy in my job. So it's been really good going out, going to pubs with different people.
So it really has changed your life.
If you learn to read, I thought it wouldn't sort of do anything like that, but it makes you think of change, everything really. So it just makes life a lot easier to deal with.
Hi, I'm Lorna Pavia, and I'm the literacy specialist at Read Easy Winchester.
How difficult is it to learn to read as an adult?
I think that adults come with a huge amount of fear around learning how to read, and I think that one of the things that's really important is that you can really make someone believe that they can learn to read. It really is about self-belief. So I think for a lot of the readers, they actually haven't been taught the mechanics of reading at school. So they are, in a way, very surprised at how easy it is to learn to read once they know the code, once they know that you use phonics to, sound out a word. They often make progress that is much, much faster than they expected to make, particularly in the early days when, they can start recognising words in the supermarket and, around and about. And it really is about going at the pace of the adult and making sure that you're tapping into their interests and their needs, why specifically they want to learn how to read.
And are you quite shocked at the number of people, especially here in Winchester, who can't read?
Yes, I am. I think that a lot of people imagine that Winchester is a very affluent and very well-educated city. There are too many people here who can't read. I think that has been a real wake-up call and a real shock. It is really important that people know that if they do have difficulties reading, Read Easy Winchester is here for them, and that they can come even if they just want a little bit of polishing of their reading, or if they are starting right at the beginning, because all our readers are different. They all come at different ages and at different stages, and people need different things, to help them with their reading as adults.
Just try it. Yeah, just go on and do it. It do take a long time. You've got to really sort of keep at it, just take it nice and slow. Try and read 2 or 3 pages of a book every day to keep you going and all that.
And worth it in the end.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely worth it.
If you know someone who could benefit from the charity, visit readeasy.co.uk.
Winchester Radio.
The Big Butterfly Count is underway, and here in Winchester we have some of the best places to see them. It was first launched in 2010 and is now the biggest survey of butterflies in the world, with 64,000 people taking part last year. It runs until the 6th of August. I spoke to Dan Hoare from Butterfly Conservation.
The Big Butterfly Count is just a fantastic opportunity to help people connect with the environment wherever they live. It's a UK-wide survey run by Butterfly Conservation. It's aimed at helping us assess the health of the environment simply by counting the number and type of different butterflies you see in a 15-minute count, wherever you are. So it's the largest citizen science project of its kind. It's a really positive way for people to help nature.
And is it particularly important to have it this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So butterflies are really sensitive to environmental change, particularly temperature. So they're a really good indicator of the state of the natural world. They track our warming climate and respond to new extremes of weather. So this year in particular is really vital for the Big Butterfly Count. For the first time, we'll be able to see what the longer term impacts are of last summer's drought in the UK.
Tell me a bit about Winchester. What type of butterflies might we expect to see here?
Well, in Winchester we're really fortunate. So it's on the edge of the South Downs National Park, which means you can get easy access to some of those fantastic kind of nature reserves with the kind of higher quality habitats which haven't been disturbed by farming or development. We're also in southern England where we have quite a lot of species because of the warmth. A lot of butterflies in the UK are on the northern edge of their range, but here in the south of England we have a nice range of habitats. In your garden you might expect to see kind of common and widespread species, the big strong flying things like red admiral butterfly, of which there have been quite a lot this year, peacock, and longer distance migrants like painted lady, but also some of the resident species that are maybe breeding in your local road verge or in the longer grass in the edge of your lawn, like meadow brown, gatekeeper, holly blue is another really popular garden butterfly.
And like you say, we've got some lovely places people can go to around here to see butterflies and see maybe different types of butterflies.
Absolutely. If you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you can go further afield. So Magdalen Hill Down is Butterfly Conservation's nature reserve, just the other side of the M3 motorway, on a beautiful hillside of chalk grassland and also restored grassland that has been restored from previously farmed land. And there you can see a wealth of rarer species, clouds of chalk hill blue butterflies, for example, and marbled white, a beautiful black and white checkered butterfly that will be flying as soon as the sun comes out in July. But there's a whole range of other sites. There's Winnell Moors down in the valley, there's St Catherine's Hill managed by the Wildlife Trust. All of those are great places to see a wider range of species and a few more unusual ones.
And what can we do if we want to get more butterflies in our garden?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and a lot of people ask us why they don't see as many butterflies as they used to. That's for a whole range of reasons, but we can start to address some of those things close to home. Butterfly Conservation has a scheme called Wild Spaces. You can find out more about that by Googling Wild Spaces and Butterfly Conservation, or go to our website, which is www.butterfly-conservation.org. And that gives you all the information you need to create the kind of haven for butterflies and moths in your garden. The things they need to survive are places to breed, places to feed, and places to shelter. And if you provide all three, you can make a real difference for butterflies, moths, and other wildlife really close to home.
And how are butterflies doing at the moment? What are the concerns for the future?
The long-term picture is really tough, to be honest. They're facing a lot of different challenges. As I said, they're really responsive to environmental change. There are winners and losers, particularly in southern England. So there are some species we see moving in. Butterflies are changing their distribution and moving north as the climate warms, but some species are finding it really hard to track that. So things that we may be really familiar with from years gone by, like small tortoiseshell, that's a species that's really struggling in southern England. Getting good information on that through things like Big Butterfly Count helps us understand where it's doing well. There's indications that it's struggling in the south because of the warming climate, particularly perhaps milder, damper winters, but it's doing better in northern England and in Scotland. So by people just taking part in a simple 15-minute count, putting their data into our website, they can really help provide us with a UK-wide picture of how these things are doing and help us untangle some of those complicated threads.
And how can people get involved in the count?
So the best way to get involved in the count is to go to the Butterfly Conservation website, search for Big Butterfly Count, or you can also download a free app for both Android and iPhones and enter your data straight on the app there. You can also look at our interactive map, which will show your records on the map and show them in a wider context.
Hi, I'm Paul Blitz, and it's time for this week's shout-out. We start with a huge shout-out to the team at the Chesil Theatre for putting on a wonderful outdoor performance of Treasure Island. They held the gala opening night last Tuesday, inviting guests from local charities to watch the production. A team from Winchester Radio were honoured to go along and said it was a fabulously fun production with a talented cast, eye-catching scenery, lots of laughs, and the cutest little mermaids in Young Rats you are ever likely to see on board a pirate ship. A real gem of a show. It's been an incredibly busy time for the Catholic parish of St Peter's and the Winchester Martyrs, with lots to celebrate. So let's start by saying congratulations to newly ordained deacon Tony Darlinson and to newly commissioned street pastors Fritz and Robert. Also, a big thank you goes out to everyone involved in organising the service in Mitcheldever for the travelling community last week, and for all the volunteers and cooks who made the annual parish party at St Peter's on Drury Street so special. Next, it's congratulations to Winchester City Football Club, who had a 5-0 win against Christchurch FC in a pre-season friendly last Friday. The club is in good form with a couple of new sponsors signed up and players being confirmed for the 2023-2024 season. And finally, congratulations to the Winchester Goalball Club, which has celebrated its 10th birthday. It was set up by goalball Paralympian Adam Knott in 2013 after competing in London 2012. Now, goalball is a unique team sport for blind and partially sighted people and was originally created for soldiers who lost their sight in the Second World War. Adam found there were no clubs in southern England at the time, so he used his expertise to set up the Winchester Goalball Club. It's gone from strength to strength and is now one of the UK's biggest and most successful clubs. We'll have more shout-outs for you next week here on Winchester Now.
Winchester Radio.
Another club celebrating its 10th anniversary this year is the Winchester Boxing Club. The club was forced to postpone a planned demonstration in the High Street last weekend because of the weather. It's keen to change the perception of the sport and show that it's open to all ages and genders. It also works alongside homeless charities and people with physical or mental illnesses. I went along to meet some of those involved.
1, 2, 1.
So my name is Filip Duda. I'm a co-chairman and co-founder of Winchester Amateur Boxing Club. So we've started over 10 years ago now. Our approach has always been make the club welcoming to every member of the community. We've started with 3 sessions a week, then we've been adding up, and there was more and more people coming and saying, oh, if I brought a 5-year-old, would that be possible? If I'm over 70, can I still train? If I have a disability, can I train? So we expanded the club and the sessions significantly. Now the club is open many hours every day, and we have sessions for little children, we have sessions for adults, for teenagers, we have sessions just for the ladies, just for the girls as well if they want to train by themselves. We have sessions for people with disability and competitive boxers as well, and it's just growing and growing and growing. It's a really, really good achievement for the club to be where we are.
Because there is a bit of an image that goes with boxing, isn't there? But it is open to everyone.
Yes, so it is always a challenge to us to be able to advertise outside and to show to the community that we are actually welcoming, and boxing is the sport when, yes, you can compete and you can spar with a full strength and you can put maximum into it, but as well boxing is a sport that anyone can benefit from. Anyone can build up their self-esteem, anyone can become much fitter, much healthier, anyone can improve their mental health. We have lots, especially adults, that are coming to us saying that I had a bit of a tough time in my life and I would like to see if boxing is going to help me, and that really works well.
Dudley Rees.
And I'm Magdalene Rees.
So tell me how you started boxing and why.
Well, the reason we started boxing about 2 years ago was that I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and one of the things that beyond just medicine is to actually do a lot of high energy fitness, and that's a great way of keeping fit. I wasn't that great at running because, well, I can't run anymore, so we thought, well, what can I do? And actually we just tried out boxing thinking it might only last for a few weeks, and 2 years later we're still doing it.
And what's it like? What difference does it make to you?
It really just builds a lot of strength and confidence. Just sort of a whole outlook just becomes a case of training for something and working with other people. That high intensity workout for a couple of hours a week really makes all the difference to my strength and general sort of mental health as well.
So I came along just to support Dudley and to have a go, but actually I was amazed at how much stronger I am, and I really like that. I like feeling strong as a lady in her mid-40s. It's good, and I like the energy of the club. It's so inclusive. Everyone is welcome. So I really look forward to being there a couple of times a week. In the all-inclusive session, there's us, there's young people, there's older people, there's somebody with Down syndrome, there are people maybe without all their limbs, and everybody gets in, trains together, works hard. It's great.
So you must see people changing in the time that they come to you.
Oh yes, not only physically, but as well as a person, as a developing. So yes, lots of good stories. We work with a lot of different organizations around. So the Street Reach, we work with different night shelters around the Winchester as well. We do fundraising for different organizations as well. We had our first boxing show this year, which was very successful. We made it in a way that it was outstanding. It was a glamorous show in a Guildford of Winchester. There's a lot of things that we can be really proud of.
That's all for this week. If you have a story to share, do get in touch at news@winchester.radio. Many thanks for listening.